Welcome to Talmudic Treasures. Today we're learning Nedarim page 41, which continues to discuss the important mitzvah of Bikur Cholim, namely the importance of visiting someone who is sick. And we've mentioned previously that you going and visiting that person gives that person a sense of vitality, the notion that he is not alone, and because of that, there is a sense of his healing because of your being there. And it therefore has tremendous medicinal benefit by just standing in the presence of someone who is sick, and that is something which is very, very helpful for their recovery. However, here the Talmud tells us that's not always the case. Just like we mentioned, sometimes you have to be careful when you visit. You also need to know who you're visiting and exactly why they're sick. The Talmud tells us that if a person has a stomach illness and there's something wrong with their digestive system, so you should not visit them. And the reason, as the Talmud says, is because you are going to potentially cause them to be humiliated and embarrassed. If in the middle of your visit, because their stomach is getting the best of them and they're in so much physical pain that they have to keep running to the bathroom, and it's something which is below their dignity. So by you being there, even though you have the best of intentions, but you're actually going to be causing more harm than good. In addition, the Talmud tells us that if a person literally has something wrong with their eyes or they have migraines, then you should also not visit them. And the reason is, by you coming and visiting and having these long conversations, and their head is pounding and their eyes are so sore, by you being there and speaking, even though it seems like you're engaged in stimulating conversation, that may be the very last thing that they want. And the fact that you're talking to them could actually be causing them to have greater headaches, because all of a sudden now they're listening and they're hearing, and maybe they just need peace and quiet. They need to be in a dark, quiet room, and there you are speaking. This is something in which could also be detrimental. So this is something that we should always be mindful of. Of course, it's important to visit the sick, but we also have to be sensitive when you're visiting them to make sure you understand their position. And you have to be very alert and aware of what's going on. Be aware of your surroundings, because it's very possible that you being there is actually going to be causing pain and suffering for that person. Of course, that's not what you want. That's not what your intention is, but it doesn't make any difference. You still have to be aware. And therefore, even though you should try your best as much as possible to visit, sometimes you being there is not the right thing. That doesn't mean you shouldn't do anything. There are other options. Perhaps you could call, or you could send a note, or you could send flowers. There are other things that you could do which will still show that you care, but in a way that's not going to make the person who is sick in an uncomfortable situation.